Hello and welcome back to Hot to the Top on Football Manager 2020. Hope you're all doing well today. Get ready for a tumultuous episode because we've got two games today at opposite ends of a table. We've got Young Boys, who are currently the team to beat in the division, whereas Sion are battling against their relegation playoff credentials right now. So two games, big games, and both big games for different reasons. So first things first is to go through results since you were last here, and they've not been awful, but they've not been brilliant either. So you were last here for the 2-2 draw to Servette and the 2-1 loss to Basel. After that, we lost 2-0 to Young Boys in the Swiss Cup third round. The second year in a row we've gone out in the third round of a Swiss Cup. The board's minimum requirements are to reach the quarterfinals, so they're not too happy that we got knocked out at the third round stage, but they are happy with our league performance, and they were happy with a 3-1 win over Thun, which I think is how you say this. I got told in the comment section. I thought it was pronounced Thun, but apparently the TH sound in German/French/Swiss is like a T sound, so it's more like tune or something like that. Either way, we won 3-1. Randy Schneider, Morandi and Witwer with the goals, but Schneider picked up quite a nasty injury in that game. He's out for 3 months. Currently, he's got about 2 months of that left of his injury, so won't feature again this half of the season. In front of an almost sold-out Letzigrund Stadium, we beat Zurich 2-1 for the second victory over them this season. Sukachev with both the goals in that game. Before we didn't score a goal in 2 games. We lost 1-0 to St. Gallen, which was quite frustrating, and then against Luzerne, a 0-0 draw. So dropping points in those particular games. The game against Lugano was a bit of a frustrating one, but we did very well to come back from behind twice, including Joe Gelhardt scoring in the 91st minute. What you will notice about these results is that Ben Khalifa hasn't scored a goal since you were last here. In fact, he's not scored a goal since he scored against Lugano back in September now. And that's good because we're selling him in January. Obviously, he's leaving for 7.5 million in January. If he started scoring loads of goals for us, if he was on 20 goals at this point, I'd be really upset he's going. The fact he's not scored a goal since we decided to sell him is perfect. It's perfect timing. So before we jump into these games, there's a few things I want to talk about first of all. And the first thing is transfers. And there's 2 transfers that we did all the way back in the summer transfer window that I just forgot to tell you about, basically. They're not important ones, really, so that's why I forgot to tell you about it. The first one was a £4,000 bid for Nicholas Stefan from Basel. He's just a youth goalkeeper, basically, but 5-star potential, 4k total transfer spend. It seemed like a good deal to me, and he's got some very, very good attributes. So I think in future he'll be a great player. Also adds to that sort of talent pool of goalkeepers that we've got. We've got Salvi, obviously, but he's dropping quite a bit now at 26 years old. We should probably try and get rid of him. I want to try and sign Fruchtel permanently in January. However, we are looking to be spending 1.1 to 2.2 million on him, and his wages are probably going to be quite high, but if we could get him in, that would be really good. We've also got Marvin Keller as well, who's a 4.5-star potential ability goalkeeper, so we've got quite a few decent goalkeepers coming through. We need to just make sure their progression is still going. And then on the outside, there was quite a big one on the outside, Salatic. I mean, you've not seen him all season. You've probably seen his name on the team sheet in purple and thinking he's on loan somewhere. He's on loan. He went to his club in Russia. They're paying us 10 grand a week for him, or 10 grand a month for him. They're paying all his wages as well, which is 4,400 a week. That saved us a lot of money as well. So really, I mean, they're not important, but you probably should know about them because they're probably important enough to know about in the future. Obviously, we sent a few youth prospects out on loan as well. And talking of the striker position, because Ben Cleaver's not been scoring, I mean, Gelhardt's not been scoring that much really either. But Francis Momo has scored 14 goals whilst he's been out on loan in Nigeria. He looks like he could come back and perhaps do something. I think he comes back in January. He does come back in January. So potentially he is a backup player. If we don't sign any strikers, if something happens and we can't sign a striker, this guy, he's someone who could bring in 14 goals a season, a 7.32 average rating. It's not bad. But there are a few little bits that I wanted to sort of clear up with you and just sort of tell you about so I don't forget and you see something in the future and you're like, what's that about? There you go. I've told you about it. The team for today's game against Young Boys, we've not beaten them yet this season. They scored 5 goals past us this season. We've scored 0. So really we have to get our own back today. Fruchtel stays in goal with a backline of Witwer, Svetkovic, Gonzalo and Aragorn today as Gonçalves is out with an injury right now, which isn't brilliant. Hossu and Bernardo have sort of made that midfield partnership their own now. They're sort of becoming the go-to midfielders. I mean, Bernardo always was, but Hossu perhaps not so much. But they're sort of developing a partnership and playing very well with each other. Sukachev has taken over that left wing position really well since Gelhardt sort of moved up front. Sukachev as well now fully comfortable as a left winger. That's fantastic. We trained him up and he's suitable there. So that's really good to see. He's very happy in that position. Morandi trains really well, but in games isn't performing brilliantly well, as you can see, on a 6.94 average rating for most games. And Pusic on a 6.91, also not performing massively well. I want to see more performances out of him in the second half of the season, definitely. So as kickoff is upon us here at Young Boys Stadium, I forgot to show you the table. You can see it right here. We are playing Young Boys in the final game of this game weekend as Young Boys score a goal within 2 minutes. That was a soft one to concede. That was poor goalkeeping from Fructal just to push it into the path of the striker. So that goal there for Young Boys, taking the lead, reaffirms them as the team to be as they go back on top of the table on 39 points. 1 point ahead of Basel. Then there is quite the big drop, 10 points apiece to us and Luzerne in third and fourth. So they're sort of battling for the title by look of things at the moment at the halfway point of the season. Us and Luzerne are potentially battling for third place. But St. Gallen and Lugano, they are not too far away from us. If we're not careful, both these clubs could catch us up and will drop out of the top four. I mean, we've done so well to be in the top four at the first half of the season. Like, we are doing ridiculously well. But realistically, we shouldn't be there. So we've got to be very careful. If we want to stay there, we've got to protect it. And we need to get some good results against... I mean, we've got to beat everyone below us, really, realistically. If we want to stay where we are, we've got to be beating everyone below us. As Young Boys coming forward again, hit the crossbar this time. We need to switch on a bit more. As mentioned last episode, I'm hunting for a striker and a defender to come in the January transfer window. I'm still looking at it, obviously. It depends on how much we can buy players in for. I think, because obviously we're selling Ben Khalifa for 7.5 million. The board said we'll get 2.2 million of that. So that's what we've got to spend. Of course, I don't want to spend all that money. I'd rather save some of it, but that's what we've got to play with if we have to. Now, unfortunately, we are 1-0 down at half-time, but in terms of stats, it's not too bad. It's slightly in our favour, if anything. So we're going to go... I'm going to go aggressive anyway and say I expect to see a much better showing from him in the second half because I do expect to see a much better showing. But it's not like we've been playing badly, so perhaps that was a little bit harsh. Unfortunately, our front men aren't... No one's playing particularly well, really, especially Svetkovic on a 5.9 rating right now. Ben Khalifa, I'm going to trust you to score some goals out there. Have a go up front, lads. See what you can do. Svetkovic also just not doing anything. So Baba is going to come on for him, who's sort of lost his place recently because he wasn't playing particularly well. Svetkovic hasn't impressed me massively either. We might bring Bajrami on very shortly as we clear the Young Boys corner, but the ball is still looking to come back in the area as their winger just cuts inside too easily there. Defensively, we just aren't good enough. That's the thing. We just can't deal defensively. Free kick for us, though, 62 minutes into the game, and hopefully we'll score something from this because we need to get back into today's game as Morandi finds some space and is open, gets it out to Aragon. I think he got tackled, actually. It goes out to Aragon, who's... I mean, I'm not quite sure what that ball was, but it gets to our players in the end as Bernardo's ball forward isn't brilliant. And now Young Boys looking to come on a bit of a counter-attack. They're working the ball forward quite nicely. If their number 6 gets that, I'll be very cross. He didn't get that. That's fine. Aragon gets it back to Fructal, who clears it. But it's a terrible clearance, and Young Boys can just come straight back at us. Their number 6 is through, in behind the defence. And he's managed to put that in the back of a net somehow. For his 11th goal of the season. You hate to see it. And with 20 minutes to go, it's not looking like we're going to get back in this game and even grab a draw, let alone a win. It just shows the gulfing quality that there is between us and Young Boys, and I suppose Basel as well, because they're up there as well. I mean, we beat Basel early on in the season, but they were quite poor at the start of the season. They've picked things up and not lost a game for a long time. I think this is Young Boys' 6th win in a row as well, so they're doing really well at the moment. We just need to make sure we don't lose to the teams below us in the table. That's the most important thing. So today was a real test. It was a test that we haven't passed, and this is a test that we're going to have to pass in subsequent seasons if we want to be winning the title at some point in the next few years. As Morandi can't quite get a consolation goal. The second half, Young Boys really showed their quality there, really outplaying us towards the end of the game there. So fair play, a deserved win for them. We're going to go aggressively though. That performance has shown me that there's a lot of work to be done. I'll see you in training tomorrow. I mean, Fructal looks motivated by that. He's played very well actually. So we'll say to him calmly, I am happy with your improvement in the second half, we'll say that. And so at exactly halfway through the season, 18 games, we sit 4th in the table, and if you told me that at the start of the season, I'd have bitten your hand off to have that opportunity. So I'm really pleased with where we sit. However, our last 5 games is a little bit concerning. 1 win, 2 losses, 2 draws. We've got 6 days off then until the game against Sion, who are 9th in the table. This is a must-win game, really. A must-win game. Oh, this bit's quite exciting. We've got an early assessment of your youth team intake for this year. Okay, so 1 centre-back is looking promising. Okay, we've got some wingers coming through, which is good. We didn't have any wingers last season. A forward that could be considered a fine prospect. A wing-back who's highly rated. A good Swiss centre defender from Winterthur has caught the eye. It's an excellent group of players, apparently. So, I mean, that's kind of similar to last season. This 1 centre-back could be the 5-star potential regen coming through. Maybe we won't get any more. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It comes through in March, doesn't it? So I'll have to make an episode around that time. Annoyingly, Victor has picked up a knock. Our fullbacks are getting a couple injuries. Each of them seems to have had an injury in the past month or so. Luckily, none of them particularly short or long-term, sorry. They've all been short-term injuries, but this guy might be worth scouting out a little bit more. It is still rather annoying because it does mean we have to rotate them quite a bit, so we can't really get a consistent team getting used to playing with each other, especially at the back who are quite weak. We need that sort of consistency, I think. So Whitver is going to come off the pitch, and we need to bring Cabral, who's just coming back from an injury. He can come back on the pitch instead. Now, this actually is going to be the last time we're ever going to see Nassim Ben Khalifa. So we're going to start him for his final ever game here at Grasshoppers, which is a great shame, but he's making a 7.5 million, so we've got to get rid of him. I'm happy to let him go. And also, this dotted orange line here means that Paulo Bernardo and Henrique Hossu have not played well together. Hossu and Bernardo have sort of made that midfield partnership their own now. They're sort of becoming the go-to midfielders. So Hossu's going to come off and Alan is going to come on the pitch instead. Let's see what he can do today. So then kickoff is upon us against Sion. We need a win, but we also need to give Nassim Ben Khalifa a good send-off. He's scored in the league 36 goals for us over a season and a half, which is mental. And that's why Stoke came in and said, let's have him for £7.5 million. And £7.5 million is why I said, yes, you can have him, because that is an awful lot of money for a player whose contract is running out at the end of a season, is getting on a bit. He's 29 years old now, so isn't going to get any better. And quite frankly, he'd even be asking for more money as Paulo Bernardo grabs the opening goal of the game to put us 1-0 up, which is fantastic. Does that move us ahead of Luzerne? We'll have a look in the second after we watch the highlight go through. But Aragon doing very well there to get it into Morandi. Morandi coming inside, passes it out to Paulo Bernardo in the back of the net, and another assist from Morandi. Unfortunately, doesn't move us up to 3rd in the table yet, because again, we must be the last team to play or something like that. Luzerne already winning 1-0 anyway, actually, that's what they're doing. They were winning 1-0, so that's why. St. Garland, though, haven't played their game yet, as Sion have just scored a goal. Now, we missed that because I was looking at the tactics and the table, that's what I meant to say. We'll watch the replay. How have we considered this one then? Probably bad defending. That's what seems to be the issue at the moment, bad defending, as they seem to cut through. And to be fair, it wasn't that bad defending, really. It was just a great cross, and defender not being goal side, that's the only issue I can see there, really. We need to just work on it better. We just need better defenders, really. I've said it time and time again this season. We started off the season very well, not needing better defenders, but now I think it is evident we do need better defenders. As Aragon gets it back into Pusic, Pusic back to Paulo Bernardo, Paulo Bernardo across to Cabral, back to Allen. We're working it forward quite nicely. Sukachev gets it across to Pusic, number 7, Pusic. Can't get it in the area, and now Sion looking to come on a very quick counter-attack now. They're getting the ball forward quickly. Their number 9, though, is swamped, but does retain possession as their number 9 is through and doesn't score. Fruchtel makes a really good save there. If we don't win here today, I am going to be upset. I'm going to be cross for the boys if we don't win here today. We need to finish the first half of the season and go into the winter break on a very positive note as Cabral puts a cross into Pusic. It's clear, but only as far as Aragon, who shoots, and it's over. Come on, Ben Khalifa. Where's this lethal touch that you had last season and the start of this season? That's what we want to be seeing here in the second half. Finish your career with Grasshoppers on a high and get me a hat-trick. Issue is, he just really isn't playing particularly well. Neither Sukachev, though, so Geldhart is going to come on the pitch on that left-hand side. And also, Bajrami is going to come on as well for Alan, who's just playing woefully on a 6.4. Come on, Bajrami, do something for me. Instantly, we have a highlight, which we give away, which is brilliant. Thank you very much for that one, as they're looking to come forward, our Sion. Can they get the ball in the middle? They somehow can, and they nearly score from it as well. We need to be better defensively. We've just got so many issues at the back. Yes, I know we are on a positive mentality, and yes, I am going to go on to very attacking right now and say show some passion out there. so he can try and score another goal, and that's probably going to lead to more defensive mistakes. But we've got to do something out there, surely. I got excited and I saw everyone saying motivated there, but it was Sion, not us. Lads, there's 2 minutes to go against, what, nearly bottom of the table. Why aren't we scoring goals? Someone else get on the pitch. Who, though? Who? Robin Camber, he's been injured like all season, so get yourself on the pitch. You've got 2 minutes to score a goal. If you score a goal, I'll start you next half of the season. And that's a promise. However, he's not done it. And we've drawn 1-1 with Sion, which is frustrating because they are rubbish. And that's actually the second draw we've had against Sion this season. We beat them on the first day of the season, but in the 2 subsequent games after that, we had a 0-0 draw and now a 1-1 draw. They seem to be potentially our bogey side. And now that's 5 games in a row without winning. So that's a bit of poor form. The winter break clearly comes at the right time for us. So just have a bit of a break, calm down, reset, and go again, basically, in the second half of the season. Zurich doing us no favours either as they lose to St. Gallen 4-2, which means there's only 2 points between us and 5th place St. Gallen. So next episode then, we're going to go obviously and do the winter break right now. Ben Khalifa is going to leave the club. I'm going to try and bring a couple players in, but I also want to try and improve youth facilities, improve junior coaching and youth recruitment. They're my 3 big ones that I want to try and use the Ben Khalifa money to improve over the winter break. Hopefully the board say yes. I'll let you know obviously next episode. We're then going to come back and play Lugano and Luzerne in the league because that's the end of February, start of March, and that's when Regen Day is. So that's going to be quite exciting. So look forward to that one next episode. And so that rounds off another episode of Hop to the Top. Not been the best in terms of results, but at least we are still in the top 4 and we can try and push on in the second half of the season. Thank you, Ben Khalifa, for all your energy and input into the save so far. You've helped us get promoted and propel ourselves into a top 4. You're now going to help us with that £7.5 million you're bringing to the club, which is fantastic. Other than that, if you enjoyed today's episode, please do drop a like on the video. I'd really appreciate that. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And I'll see you next time for some more Hop to the Top. Have a good evening. Goodbye.